The first store was on Virgil in Vermont, Virgil and Melrose, and we called it Scrooze, Screws, and we painted the signs, and it was all decked out, and we opened the doors. First phone call, you got Astroglide? Second phone call, you got the new Barely Legal? I was like, what? And so we figured Scrooze magazine, Scrooze Toys, not going to work. So we changed it to my favorite toy of all, and added the S and the CR to Ooze, which is the Ooze It, which is my absolute favorite toy of all. I'm Robert Luna, and I handle toys. It's just something I fell into in and out of the restaurant business that kind of creeped up on me and kind of kept me out of trouble. Been buying Ooze-Its from before Secret Base said they were awesome to do. So we've probably been buying Ooze-Its religiously since 1987, 86. When I remember proactively looking for them everywhere and paying good money for them back then. I think back then I was buying them for like $20 and $30 a piece. So that's why we've amassed so many of them. I think my first real introduction to toys, or what I liked, was Ooze-It, my little mascot guy that I love, and Godzilla, but the Shogun Warrior Godzilla. 1981, 82, we were at the swap meet, what used to be the Starlight on Rosemead, and we were walking in, and there it was, man, 1981, 82, broken foot, no fist, Shogun Warrior Godzilla. The guy wanted $10 for it, and my dad was like, no, and my mom was like, no necesitas eso. And we walked the whole swap meet, 2 hours. Godzilla, Godzilla, Godzilla. Finally leaving, my dad comes to the guy and says, will you take $7 for it? And he said, yeah, it's fine. So $7, I had my first Godzilla, Shogun Warrior, broken foot, missing the hand, lever snapped on the back, and that was it. That was my first Godzilla. That was my introduction to really toys. During that time frame, He-Man was starting to hit big. Masters of the Universe was hitting huge. My parents hated it. They said it was like part of like the Satan and the devil and demons. So there was no Masters of the Universe in the household, and the only real superhero is Jesus, and Jehovah's Witnesses really just kind of controlled every aspect of my young life. So it was like knocking early mornings on doors and watching kids like through the door as I'm sitting there with my little suit talking about God, watching them watch Saturday morning cartoons and just hating it. Just like hating everything about it. And so, you grow up with that mentality that you don't have it, and not because you can't afford it, which we couldn't afford it, but not because you didn't want it. It's because God said it was bad. So that's kind of where it was at. Grew up really primarily with Star Wars, even though I hated the first movie because I saw it when I was 5 and 6. I didn't understand it. 1980 came around with Empire, and it was like my favorite movie ever. And I only saw it because my aunt took us. It had nothing to do with my parents, because they were like, no, can't see that. I was like, what the? But so I saw it, all three movies, because of my aunt, because she worked at Grauman's Chinese Theater. So, 12, 13 years old, 1984, the Olympics came to town. My father worked for the Rapid Transit District, and he was out there, and he'd bring pins home and stuff. And at that point, I figured out how to ride the buses. And so I'd go from San Gabriel Valley into downtown, and it was a mess. I was riding on walls, and I was stealing everything I could find. And that's really what drove the toys, is that you'd walk into a store and no one ever looked at toys. No one wasn't like looking for that little chubby Mexican kid walking out with, a dozen Hot Wheels in his pocket, walking out with baseball cards. 1984, the good in Strawberry, I was stealing every pack of baseball cards I could. So that's really what drove it, was the idea that I could get what I wanted free. I was just a big thief. It wasn't until I got out of toys for a long time in 88, right when Ninja Turtles were hitting. Hated them, didn't understand them, had no idea why I would want a turtle that eats pizza as a superhero. Kind of just fell off the wagon, didn't collect anything with toys. Until 1993, 94, When Power Rangers started hitting, I saw the show and I was in love. I was just like, dude, this is the baddest show ever. It's goofy, it's fun, and that really drove it. Now I'm starting to get into toys again. When I got back in with the Power Rangers, I started buying Japanese toys, like religiously, like big collections in 91. But in 91, I was 20 years old, and I just bought my first restaurant at 18, 19, so I had money. I had investors, people that were backing my play with restaurants in Pasadena. And my first big rollout for me personally was Cafe Santrini. I mean, I had a lot of money invested in there at a young age. You know, I dropped out of high school. It was like, you know, just talking and being able to convince people that I could take care of stuff. And so they gave me a lot of money to open a restaurant. And along with that, a lot of freedom to buy everything. You know, I bought everything I ever wanted, toy-wise at least. Never really drank, never really did drugs, wasn't that kind of guy in the restaurant business. Yeah, that was it. That was really the driving force, was having money to do stuff. Serious collector would be someone that is dedicated to one specific genre, one specific era, one specific, you know, thing that he remembers from a certain age. I just bought everything because I could. It didn't matter. You know, if it was like, you know, there's a massive collection of Barbies, I'd buy the massive collection of Barbies, pull out 10 or 12 pieces I absolutely thought were cool, and dump the rest. And that started replicating month after month. You know, this location here is a little over 2,500 square feet, and there's boxes in the back that I haven't gone through in 10 years that I've bought and that have just been sitting there. That's why, like, I'll post stuff and it'll be like, hey, just found this in a box. And it's literally not like I had one little box with one little thing in it that I forgot. It's literally like an entire household collection of some guy's stuff that sat in a box for 10, 15 years that I just never got around to going through. Well, first off, I never walk through here. It's through the bedroom, into the kitchen, into the living room, into my shipping area. And it's not that I don't care for it or I don't like it. I think the feeling, though, gets muddled after so many years. You know, it's like I've seen that, I have that.
What's the most valuable piece that you've possessed or come across?
My sanity is gone. The lights are on, no one's home. I don't know, you know, rarity are expensive. I don't know, there's a lot, you know, there's 21 back Boba Fett is an amazingly expensive piece now. At one point, the blue Snaggletooth, I had 23 of them, baggied, that I bought for 50 cents a piece at the Sears outlet store in 1986, 85, 86. I don't know. Godzilla's, the Shogun Warrior, I own 38 of them with fist, and all of them have perfect levers and feet and fist. I don't have one thing that I look at and say, that's my grail. That's my grail. I don't have one thing that I look at and go, man, that thing's so valuable. I don't really think in terms of like what's the most expensive, you know, or what it is. I can tell you what's my favorite, and that I'm always in awe that I found it. I found a sealed case of Suckerman, you know, and that was pretty amazing. That was pretty cool. That was probably valuable, but it came out of an estate somewhere in El Paso. There was a toy store that never was, and there was a bunch of stuff, and that was one of the items that I picked up driving through, was just that random thing. You know, this is the happiest thing I've found lately. That is a C-3PO, Peekaboo Toys C-3PO. It's a bootleg, never got licensing, but that's a C-3PO. That was $1. And that's the happiest thing I've found in the past month. What have I found in the past month? 2 cases of Dragon Zords. I found 4 cases of the Wallies with the remote control. Found 6 of the Stuart Littles in a case from New York, from Radio Shack. But that's the happiest one for $1. I've never seen this one before. And I was able to track down where it was from. I made a bunch of phone calls and someone was able to give me some information. And that's it. That's the happy toy. It's not the most valuable. It's not anything except I've never seen it before. So that's my happy toy. But it's for sale. It's not like it's not for sale just because it made me happy. So I guess I'm not collecting. I don't know what the f I'm doing. I'm confused.